Begin. Today is June 25th, 2024, and we're solving the Daily Turing Machine Puzzle. Today's puzzle uses 5 criteria cards and it's 5 verification cards. Let's go to turingmachine.info for the details. So today's puzzle uses the following 5 criteria cards. Criteria card 4, 6, 17, 19, and 20, and uses the green verification cards. The code above is your way to get more information on today's puzzle by searching that code on turingmachine.info. Let's solve. So in the grid above, we've got our 5 criteria cards. On the top row, we've got criteria card A, criteria card B, and criteria card C. And in the bottom row, we've got criteria card D and criteria card E. Criteria card A looks at the middle digit, the square digit, and will be comparing that value to the number 4. So should the value of square be less than 4, should it be equal to 4, or should it be greater than 4? Again, the criteria card B will be looking at that middle digit, the square digit, and will let us know whether the value is an even or an odd. Criteria card C looks at our 3-digit solution, and the Turing machine will let us know how many of those 3 digits are even. Are there no evens? Is there a single even? Perhaps 2 even? Or maybe even all 3 are even. Criteria card D looks at the first 2 digits, triangle and square, and adds them up, and will compare the sum to the number 6. So should the sum be less than 6? Should it be equal to 6? Or should the sum be greater than 6? And finally, criteria card E again looks at our 3-digit solution, and the Turing machine will tell us a little bit about how those digits are structured. Specifically, as one example is that there are no repetitions among our 3 digits, meaning that they're all unique, as in the example 1, 2, 5. Or potentially, the 3 digits, among the 3 digits, there could be a double number, a digit that's repeated, as in the example 112. Or finally, it could be a triple number, meaning it's a single digit that's repeated 3 times, as in the example 222. Remember, our objective is to find this unique 3-digit code that abides by all the criteria cards we just discussed. And I'm going to start off with my proposal of 314. And so the first thing I want to test is whether that middle digit is an even or an odd. So let me go ahead and test criteria card B. Okay, so the Turing machine approves of my value. Notice that in my proposal, I do have an odd 1. So the Turing machine approves that it is at least an odd. Not necessarily 1, but it is indeed an odd. So let me go ahead and write that up in my notes for section B. That square is an odd digit. Okay, and being odd, that means I can actually cross out all of the evens, which are 2 and 4. So that leaves me with 2 possibilities. Either they're less than 4, which would include 1 and 3, or greater than 4, which would include 5. Perhaps I may wait to do that in the next round, because there are some other cards here that do have some more interesting information. So one thing I'd like to find out is, are there no repetitions, or is there a double digit? So let's go ahead and test criteria card E. Okay, so the Turing machine does not approve of my proposal. Notice that in my proposal 314, they are actually all distinct. So, or meaning that there are no repetitions. But the Turing machine does not approve of that. So it's either a double number or a triple number. So let me go ahead and write that down in my notes for section E. So I'll just say either a double or triple number. Okay. And so let's think about this. Can it be a triple number? Is there something in there that makes any of the other cards, redundant. And I don't think so. Even though you have a triple number, you don't know if they're all even or all odd. It still isn't conclusive. And yeah, it's hard to say. I don't think we can outright exclude it. So we'll keep it at it's rare, but let's just leave it at that. Okay, so let's see, what else can we test? I think I'm going to test what the sum might be. So let's go ahead and test criteria card D, just to get an idea. Okay, so it does not approve of my proposal. Notice that my first two digits are 3 and 1, and their sum is 4. So that means that the sum is not less than 6. It's either equal to 6 or greater than 6. So let me go ahead and write that down in section D. That triangle plus square is either equal to 6 or greater than 6. Okay, well that does it for our round 1, since we already asked our 3 Turing tests. So we're going into the phase where we're going to be discussing how to construct a good second round proposal. Okay, so a couple of things that we did not do. We did not test criteria card A to kind of pinpoint what might that square value be. Again, since it is odd, it's either a 1, 3, which would make it less than 4, or a 5 greater than 4. And you know, as funny as it is, I don't know if I've ever really thought about, square being less than 4 and having 2 possible values. I'm not sure what that says about the puzzle, having 2 possibilities. I don't know, for some reason I can't recall a scenario similar to that. And then we also have the number of evens. So at most we're dealing with maybe 2 evens, since we know that middle digit is odd, but it could be none, or it could be even 1. And then obviously we didn't pinpoint the exact value of triangle and square. And then again, we didn't pinpoint either whether it was a double or a triple. And so if it is a triple, it would have to be odd. So that's interesting. There you go. Maybe that's what it is. If you have a triple number, and of course we've got the middle digit being odd, if it's triple, it'd have to be all odds, and therefore you would know that there are no evens. But you can't have that. You have to have, each card has to bring something to the table, something distinct to say about our 3-digit solution. So I think that for that reason, I think we can cross out it being a triple digit. So let me go ahead, or a triple number. So let me go ahead and cross that out. Okay, so we're dealing with a double. The question is it 2 evens or 2 odds? That's the interesting question. Let's see. If we have 2, so the other thing to notice that there is no mentioning of purple. There's a lot of the middle digit square and a little bit of triangle, but there's nothing about circle. So something about circle, or the fact that there is no mention of circle, means that it's going to be forced into something. And so it could be that it's forced into being the other double. That's a possibility. Or it could be maybe the lone even, something to that effect. So there are many possibilities. So let's see, what else can we... So I think, we have a double. Notice that the other kind of interesting thing is, if indeed there's a double, but there's also, I don't see any possibility. The only thing I can see is maybe if there is a double and the sum is 6, that it'd be pointing to 3, 3. But like I said, circle has to be forced to be something. Even if it were 1 even, there's no clear indication as to it being either a 2 or a 4. So I don't think the sum, not to say that the sum can't be 6, it still can be, but it wouldn't be 3, 3 per se, because again, I don't see if there is an even, or even if they're all odd, I don't see how circle is being forced into one particular value. So what is it about these 5 criteria cards that would force? The only other thing is that perhaps maybe that square and circle may be the paired up, and that sort of triangle needs to be forced into something else. So what could it be? So I guess the other, maybe it is a 6, but the sum, the sum is 6, and somehow you're forced to have squared to be, say, as small as possible, like a 1, which would force a triangle to be a 5. But again, so yeah, now I come back to, okay, what is purple? How do you force purple to be something? There's nothing that says it would be, again, like a 1, 1 or a 5, 5. That's not what, I don't get a feel for that. So how am I finding what circle is? What is circle? We have a double. Again, I'm going back to the idea and just trying to reassure myself that how I concluded that it's not a triple. It's not a triple because if there were a triple, they're all odd, which would mean that this would give you no information. So yes, I believe that to be true. What about sums that are either 6? Let's see, so as far as sums that are 6, since I'm only dealing with odds, that means that there wouldn't be evens up above. So it'd be like a 1, 5 or a 5, 1 or a 3, 3. And even if, so those aren't paired up, so that would mean that the circle would be paired up, but again, I don't see anything where it's being forced. So the only other thing I can think of is if there are 2 evens, yeah, that's probably it, there are 2 evens, and the top and bottom are even. So what sort of even value would I need? Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. Even on top and bottom, and somehow criteria card A and D are going to tell me what triangle and square are. Okay, so what could that be? So if I had a 5, it's forcing me to pick a 5, and so 6 would be unique, right? Yeah, that would force, but that would be an odd, not an even. Okay, so that wouldn't work. So not 6, and all these would be greater, but nothing kind of screams out even. Okay, so what if, and what about 1? All these would be okay, oh, okay, so I still don't know if it's equal to 6 or greater. So let's pretend it's greater. That would exclude the 1. So that would mean that the middle digit is a 3. And so again, I don't see it being equal to 6. How about, what if the sum is greater than 6? It would either be 3, 4, 3, 5, but you know that there are two evens. So then you'd pick the 4. So I'm going to say it's going to be 4, 3, 4. Let's go with that. Okay, so let's see. Let me go ahead and test how many evens there are. Is that, which card, are there certain cards that are better to that, to be able to then query less of them? If I know the sum is greater than 6, that would exclude the 1. If knowing that there are even. So if I query these two, this will tell me it's greater than or equal. And this will tell me which one it is. So I think if it is greater, we know it wouldn't be a 1. And this would tell us whether it's a 3 or a 5. Could then we deduce that they're even? Let me go ahead and do that. Let's see. Let me test. Let me go ahead and test A first. Okay, so yes, it's correct. My square digit is 3, which would mean that it would be square is less than 4. So let me go ahead and write that out. That square is less than 4. Oops. Okay, so that means that it's not a 5. And that's the only thing we can say about that. So it's either a 1 or a 3. Let's go ahead and test. Let's see if it's even. Let's see if we test that they're even, then we know it couldn't be 1, 2, or 1, 4. That may be a, let's see. Yeah, if we test if they're even, then we know that it wouldn't be 1, 2, or 1, 4, since they're both already less than 6, and I've already proven that. So that would mean it'd have to be 3, and then it'd be 3, 4, 4. So instead of testing D, let me test C to see how many evens there are. Okay, there are 2 evens, since that's what my proposal has. So that is C, so let me type that up. So there are 2 evens. Okay, so that means, and just, that means that obviously the top and bottom are the evens. So let me go ahead and cross out all the odds in circle, triangle and circle. Okay, and again, because we know that the sum wasn't less than 6, it can be a 1. So that means that square has to be the 3. So let me cross out the 1. Okay, so it's a 3, and because we do have a double, it can't be 2, 3, 2, because 2, 3 is 5, and that's also less than 6. So yeah, so I think talking through it, we came up with the correct answer. And so I feel confident that, let's see, is there something, so I guess we didn't definitively say whether it's a 6 or not. And technically, I guess you could almost say it can't be a 6, because that would force triangle to be an odd. Because since square is odd, the only way you could get a 6 is if triangle were odd. And we already know we got 2 evens. So, or 2 odds. Yeah, 2 odds to get a 6. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, but they're still even. And so, yeah, so I feel confident it's going to be 434. So I guess we technically still did all of the 5 criteria cards, so it wasn't as efficient as I thought it would be, but, I feel confident that the answer is 434. Okay, so let's go ahead and to the turingmachine.info and verify. So let's go ahead and test a code of 434. And let's verify. Okay, fantastic. But of course, let's actually go see how do we do versus the Turing machine. Okay, so round 1 we did B, D, E, and the last 2 were incorrect. And then in the second round, it was the other 2 criteria cards A and C. So B, D, E on the first round. B, D, E. And again, second round, it was the other 2, A and C, and they were both correct. And so how do we do? Okay, so we beat the Turing machine by 1 question. So not too bad. I think, again, maybe it was beneficial. The order, the sequence of cards, obviously, talking through what are the possibilities, what wouldn't necessarily work. So overall, I'm very pleased with how it turned out. So if you did find anything interesting to today's video, please do add it to the comments. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up so that other people can find this channel. And if you don't want to miss out on any future videos, please do hit subscribe to be notified. Well, until next time, have a great one.